Hey everyone, Sketch Card Hive here with two amazing people. Graydon, Last Pack Magic. How you doing, buddy?
What's going on, big guy?
Good, good. And OCD Marvel Sketch Cards.
Some of that good marker.
Living the good life. It's 420 somewhere. And
That's
we
right.
are here to hang out and have a good time. So today on Character Collectors, we are going to, I didn't get a chance to title the episode, but the title of the episode is When Do I Stop? Where Do I Begin? When do I start? Where do I begin? So this kind of conversation is going to be primarily around what I think a lot of us are talking about behind the scenes, and a lot of us character collectors, but also character collectors in general. Is this the new norm from Upper Deck, which it is for Parallels? And what does that mean for collections that came prior to 2024? Really? So we're talking a little bit about this before. We had someone in the Discord, a new Marvel card collector. I'm trying to remember his name. I think it was Ryan. Forget. Let me see. And he has decided to start character collecting, and a lot of people are starting to character collect now. And I think that's because of the nature of Platinum is kind of forcing people into that area. And yeah, he decided to start collecting this stuff. And I told him if he wanted to talk a little bit in the comments to come join us, but we should have a little more of a conversation here. We got True Blue. Hey, buddy. What's going on? Daredevil Character Collector. What's up? Donnie. Hey, man. Loving the Iron Mans. They're so good. T-Bear. What's going on, buddy? Hey. And Sydney. What's going on, man? Sydney, we have to talk about. That was a freaking hilarious photo of him begging for Beta Ray Bill cards. I thought that was great. Really great. Vintage Lord. What's up, man? How's it going? All right, so let's do a little bit of a kind of a check-in. Let's see how everyone's doing with their cards, where they're going, how's it going with the hunt, anything interesting. It doesn't have to be Platinum, it could be anything. Let's start with Graydon here. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, everybody. So how about I've been hunting? I've been participating in Platinum breaks. My boxes literally arrived yesterday, so I got to open my first one yesterday. As I've mentioned in the other conversations we've had about it, I'm really limiting myself to the number of these that I'm going to collect. I now have, I want to say 9 of them. And so I have a binder page done, which haven't arrived there in transit. But I'm probably, in all likelihood, going to stick to my 18 2-page. And I'm not really going after the top ones. I'm going after the ones that I like. And that's about it.
That's good. That's
all I
good.
picked up lately.
Self-control still working.
Yeah. I mean, I'm also an idiot and I've been opening boxes on my channel, but I like to balance it both that I'm going for a set of this. So I've been getting my base set in my binder and I'm just filling gaps as they come in and I've been having fun.
That's a YouTube write-off, though. As a content creator, that's a write-off in my mind as a collecting. You know what I mean? I was like, you know what? This is for the channel. I know what I'm doing. I'm not going crazy, but this is for the channel.
Yeah, that's what's been going on with me. What about you, Fuller? What have you been doing?
Character breaks is what I've been doing. I was just making a list of them. So I did one. I'm about to be in for the 5th from North 7 on eBay. There's another guy on eBay who's got one. Brian on Discord's doing a second now. Marvel Madness did a half case the other day. I mean, this is almost 11 breaks.
Yeah.
And for the cost, far less than a cost of probably the cost of 2 to 3 boxes.
Yeah.
To get all the Danny characters from 11 cases. That's ridiculous.
That's the way to do it. That's smart too. And Danny's such a good pick too, because you have 2 variations of Danny, right? So that really works out. It helps with your odds quite a bit too. I think it's great, man. I think it's smart. Yeah, that's a lot of character breaks. I was just talking to Letty. He was doing one too. I think it's smart. I think it makes a lot of sense depending on your buy-in for the character. I did one with you, and I got the cards today. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. So I have those. Hey, what's going on, guys? TCG, yes. We'll do an episode on TCG stuff. That's pretty interesting. There's some really great cards in there, actually. So we'll talk about that. Probably sticking to a 9 of my character unless Unicorn comes up cheap. Yes. Smart. Mix and match, 9 pages. I like thinking about it in terms of pages. Even if you don't keep yourself in binders right now and you keep yourself in a case, eventually you'll want to put this in a binder, either to show, transport, whatever. Just having the numbers there of 3 and 9, I think is absolute genius. And I'm kind of leaning that way too. And that's how I've been managing a lot of my stuff, comic cuts, sketches. So I think that's pretty great.
Part of me wishes I could go the graded route. I've sort of backed myself into a corner.
The graded route is tough. I mean, when I did the graded stuff, it was just base cards. So no appearances, no teams, no nothing like that. Just because I knew it was going to be such a pain in the ass. But Danny doesn't have as many cards, so I think you're still. Are you going to grade platinum? Are you going to go down that road?
I mean, like I said, I've sort of boxed myself in that. I mean, maybe I somehow convinced myself to maybe I only grade up to 2023 for the display, and maybe I move to binders 2024. All I have to do is overcome this. That's all.
The perfect name for Matt Fuller's OCD Marvel sketch cards.
And by the way, I just thought of there's another 12th break. Nathan in the chat is running one as well. So if you're interested in a box break, reach out to Mr. True Blue Collectibles.
I have to hit him actually. I actually reached out to him, but I haven't checked my Discord, so hopefully server's not been picked up there.
Available on his website too.
Yes, that's right. I have to go look at that. Nathan did it right. Nathan did it like a G. You and Brian killed it. Nathan's like really setting it up in a digital space.
He's like going all professional and like showing us all up.
I know. I had to sign an agreement, send naked photos. It was a whole thing. I don't know why I had to do that. You had to do that.
From inside of a semi-cab.
Exactly. That's it. That's what it is. So I've been picking up Surfer Platinum. I have to do a little bit of a check-in for this Rainbow episode that I'm doing that Matt and Graydon are also part in. So I have to do that. I did get something that I want to highlight for my buddy because he's a G and I really appreciate him. Melfi sold me the
nice
Ron Lim Auto Blue 7 out of 25. Melfi's great. Honestly, if you don't know Melfi Collectibles, he's on Instagram. He's fantastic. He has not only beautiful cards, but he's also a very good friend. And this card was super pristine, beautiful piece. Sold it to me for a good price. We talked about it, talked through it. He was awesome through the whole process. I'm just so happy. Very excited to have it out of 25. And I like the blue. So this might be my one and only auto, because I like the blue a lot more than I think I would ever like a green border. You know what I mean? So done, boom, out of the way.
Him, the Card Drop podcast. Be sure to check
that out.
Oh
my God. Yes, let's have a little second here because I have to talk about this because these guys, I don't know who's doing the editing. I'm assuming it's Will Melfi.
Yeah, they're cheating.
Oh, they're super cheating. But
they're showing us all up.
Because I know what Melfi's doing to get those episodes, and I know how he's making those 15 minutes, and he's really going through he's smart. He's doing it right. We do this an hour because we do it live and everybody talks and it's easy and it's out of the way. Because I started doing it like Melfi did it now. And I really hope, and I know Card Drop's going to continue moving it because for me, editing is not as fast as Melfi editing. So he's killing it. Beautiful graphics, great conversations. It's a good lineup of people. And I like the topics they're doing. I think between their show, Last Pack Magic, I think those are my two favorite shows right now. And I'm not saying that because he's here. Look, see, there you go. I'll say it right now, so he doesn't hear. He's away. Those are my two favorite things to watch right now, and I'm very happy. Sorry, I didn't mean to embarrass you, but I do think those are great pieces. And what I'm so excited about is that me, Spidey, Madness, a bunch of people have been doing these videos for a long time, but now I'm seeing like a clear evolution. And I'm very happy to see an evolution in the content and seeing it building in a natural way. Anyway, it's very cool. I'm done. That was enough embarrassment for people, but I've actually been really excited to watch both series. So anyway, really fun to check them out and look at them. So let's get to our topic. Let's talk a little bit about things that can help some people. And also just have a brief conversation. We're going to end this about 20 minutes before 8 because we have, after this, Marvel Card Trade Night. If you did not see the GOAT inside the Instagram post, I've had messages upon messages being like, bro, did you put the go? I was like, no. Matt's a genius. Killed it, goated up. It's amazing. It's our new Marvel card mascot, is the Marvel card goat.
It's my brand.
Yeah, I think we need to celebrate this. It's a big moment in the hobby that we have a mascot. We didn't have one before. So let's talk a little bit. If anybody in the chat want to talk about this too, I know this is a conversation between all of us, but let's start here. Let's say we'll start the episode on where do you decide to stop? When is enough enough? And then we'll end on a high note with where to begin, how to begin, especially in this space. So first off, let me ask my two guests, whether it's now or later in the future, all this kind of stuff, how do you think that question is going to be answered by you? Like, when do you stop your character collection? And Matt's smiling because Matt's like, "Oh, this is too big of a question." But character collecting wise, I'll be last, obviously. But how does that happen for you? When does that moment occur?
I want Matt to go first.
Sure.
I want to throw him under the bus too.
I think at a high level, it's got to occur when it just becomes impractical to continue. And I've definitely questioned it with beginnings. I mean, the numbers will be different for everyone, but I do have a spreadsheet. So before beginnings, there were 312 Danny cards. With this one set, that number has grown 20%. One set.
20%? That's a crazy increase.
Yep. So if this is the trend, then it's just not sustainable. And you either need to do what you guys are saying, which is say, all right, I'm just going to focus on a set number, like one or two 9 pages, or come up with some better way to do it. Because, so many of these are low numbered inserts too, that it's always going to be a challenge, especially early when people see a low numbered card or 1 of 1 and think huge dollar signs, maybe appropriately so or not. But that makes it tough. I've got an opportunity to get one, and I'm fortunate that the person who has it is talking trade instead of cash. So that's going to hopefully work out well. But yeah, I've heard some people who are struggling because someone has it and only wants cash, and it's tough as a character collector when you see that grail and it's just out of reach, and you don't want to overextend yourself just to check off a box.
And also, depending who you are and where your collection's at as a character collector, you could be the person, and I hope this doesn't come off egotistical, because I'm just thinking through this, because there's a lot bigger collectors than me out there, obviously. Am I the highest bidder? Am I the highest buyer? Because if I'm the highest buyer, and I'm not selling any of this, obviously. I mean, I know something could happen, but yada, yada, yada crap. But, that's not at all that's not even an interest of mine, is to sell Surfer. But back in my head, there is someone saying there's like, dude, you are the one paying the most money for this. Is there even the audience at your level paying this much money for it? Sometimes there is. That's why I pulled the trigger on the Green PMG. That's why I pulled the trigger on some original art, because I understood that the market of audience for that was much bigger. But when it comes to card, I wonder. And that's what gives me a little bit of a hesitation, at least for me, hesitation.
Right. It's finding that sweet spot between the joy you'll get by having the card and whether it's really going to retain that value, or is it like a car, you've paid that premium and to everybody else it's worth half of that. And I think the more obscure your character is, the bigger the risk of that. Right?
That's a good equation. I like that. Do you agree, Graydon?
I do. I agree with the concept that it's becoming unobtainable to have everything in a character collection. So it's time to start making decisions about narrowing your focus. I think that what Matt said about it becoming impractical, I'm just going to replace the word impractical with, for me, when it's not fun, I lose interest right away. I'm doing all of this for fun. So when I think about 72 parallels, that isn't fun to me. So screw it. 18 super fun, and I'm gonna hold myself to that. I'm gonna keep it there and enjoy that. I've been competing with other people on the breaks trying to get my character. I've lost every one of them. I have not won a single auction for my character, and I have bid on a good number of them. But I'm really firm on prices. So like when I've decided what my number is, when I click bid, after that I have no emotion about it if I lose it, because that's what I could afford. So at that point I'm done.
I think that's smart though. I did that with one character.
Need to do that.
More people need to do that. And I think, and you know, we've talked about Pokemon and Magic the Gathering and collectors from that space, which is a very known space and a much larger audience in that space. People know where they fit in that tier system. Financially, I mean, not like ego. Financially, you know, oh, you know what? I love Charizard. Charizard's awesome. But first edition PSA 10 Charizard, that's just not for me. See, but that face, that like, that 100%, that doesn't happen in the Marvel space. Not yet. I really think a lot of people think to themselves, I want that car, I'm going to get that one. You know what I mean? I just don't think the understanding of like the foresight to be like, hey, you know what? This is where I want to be with my collection. I don't think we've kind of hit that yet. I think it's coming, but I don't think we're there. And that's interesting to me.
I just wanted to throw in there too, like, for having these conversations is the reason that I've come to conclusions. Like having these conversations with you guys and with other people in the group have made me realize that I have to have a strategy, because everyone sees the forecast that this is the new norm. These are sports cards now with Marvel characters on them. And that's fine. And that's not a criticism. Like, you guys love sports cards too. That's cool. Do you? But, you know, like you better come up with a strategy today, because moving forward, it's not going back to the old way. So like having a strategy now is going to keep collecting fun, as opposed to you wanting to quit because every set has 70 cards you have to go after. Don't go after them. Go after what you want. Have fun with it.
I think that's going to happen, and I think it's just going to be a natural thing, right? I don't think people are going to be upset about it, to be honest with you, because I think when the realization hits, people are just like, it's just not me, and it just changes. And I think the whole baby kind of thing that was happening in this hobby for the last 2 years is on its way out. I think that whole complaining, grown men crying over things, I think that's done. I think it just because Upper Deck decide to make this their next step, and we've seen what they do with parallels and originality, and how they, you know, how it gets kind of washed out by them just bringing it back over and over and over again. I think that's just going to change the overall behavior of people in the hobby. Like for me, when I'm thinking about this stuff now, I'm kind of thinking about it in another way. I never wanted to be a completionist with the surfer stuff. I just wanted to collect all the different surfers because I like the images. The completionist thing wasn't really there until right at the tail end, when I saw it, like I was close enough to get complete to 2014. You know what I mean? When I was right, like 2-3 cards away, I was like, I can get there. You know what I mean? It became a little more. I became very patient, became very creative in how I would look for cards and find them. Now I'm kind of thinking, you know, I like to get maybe the first time they do this insert, first time they use this image, first time this surfer artist is on a card. Like that kind of stuff is the way I'm thinking now. You know what I mean? I like the mix matching. I like collecting what I like, and I always collect what I like. You know what I mean? I don't feel obligated to have anything. Not really. Luckily, I haven't been like super fixated like that. But for me right now, I want to see the first. You know what I mean? I want to see an artist I like. I don't know. That's rolling around in my head a lot, especially with Platinum. I'm starting to understand a little more on what the future of this is, because I don't want to stop collecting Marvel cards, but I also don't want to be aggravated by it. So a big part of me, see, that's where I'm at, right? I want to be here. I want to collect, but I want to get around this psychotic belief that I, you know, need to catch them all, you know, not to mix IPs. But I don't know. I don't want to have that anymore. And I think the way to do it is to understand where I'm at, have a creativity in how I collect and the curation, instead of just collecting everything. I don't know. I'm getting there. It's slowly but surely. I'm more there than I ever have been, for sure.
Yeah, no, I think you absolutely nailed it there. There is a fine line between collecting and having fun and it being a job, right? And I encountered that back when I was obsessed with the concept of master sketch sets, and I would get sketches I didn't even like just to check off the name on the list. And a couple of years ago, I finally got over that hurdle, and I've been on these sales nights, I've been liquidating sketches to try and get back to the core of what I like. And I think there's going to be a reckoning with character collecting for me as well, with that same sort of point in time. And I think a few more sets like this with 60 to 80 parallels, it's going to make it a necessity.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's going to force us into that position, which is good, though. I mean, honestly, as much as I hate the evolution I mean, truthfully, you can't have it the other ways anymore. Like, it just won't exist. There's just too many big of an audience. If the amount of cards are that small of a pool and that advanced, no one gets them. You know what I mean? They just go to like people who are just rolling in it and just using it to like create content. So this way of doing it just means things just have to change. And I think that's a positive note, I will say.
I'm also seeing there's a whole new layer of competition I'm seeing, right? So no one I don't know of any other Danny character collector. So I've never really had to compete with that, but I'm seeing and hearing a lot of people with Platinum, either collectors we know or people who are coming from sports who are getting into it because they're saying, okay, I'm going to rainbow the character variant set. Independent of who, they don't care who the character is, they just want them all. And then it sweeps up into your character. Some people want a full auto set. And when they're limited to 10, okay, well, that just knocked out 10% of the population there. So you've got people who are doing different slices of the collection that sort of make it harder and harder as a character collection to be a completionist. So
it's tough.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was talking to, was it Matt or Great? I was talking to one of you guys. Maybe it was Lewis. And I was going to do a little illustration of putting side by side, which I'll probably do in a reel, what it looks like for 2013 Fleer Retro, all the inserts of Surfer, right? All of them, putting all that whole character collection from that set, if you put all the cards together, there's a lot of texture. There's a lot of difference. Jambalaya, hologram, suspended, right? You have plexi, you have transparent, you have all these different kind of things going on with all these different types of inserts. And I look at Platinum, and they change color and they're very pretty, but it kind of washes out a little bit. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of wondering, I don't know, something, I know that seems random for me to mention, but again, it just goes to like pick and choosing which ones I like. You know what I mean? And how I want to go about it. I don't know. This is a random thing I was thinking of. What did this person say? I just want a complete base set. Insert says I have great art and don't scream gimmick to me. Number parallels is just whatever in my head unless I absolutely have the art. True. That's kind of what I'm referring to. I don't. It's fun to kind of grab them all, and I'm enjoying the hunt. And I think that's the part that's a little more. That's the part I kind of have to reckon with, is that I feel like the hunt has become kind of an addiction for me. Do you feel the same way, Matt?
I do. I just wanted to say hi to Miss Lastpack since I'm guessing she's in the room.
Hey,
we're Graydon's boyfriends. Hello.
Exactly.
I'm his favorite.
Yeah, that's right. She'll jump on one day. Maybe not today, but one day. Sorry to interrupt. Keep going.
No, don't worry.
I didn't remember where I was going after that.
So something that popped in my mind when you guys were talking about curating is that there were different ways of housing them. And Matt, with your graded collection, I feel like your museum's behind bulletproof glass, where some of ours are just in normal gallery display. You know what I mean? It's just something that came to mind when we were talking about it.
No, that's true. I mean, but it also, the flip side is it adds an extra layer of cost, right? 300 cards, getting them graded, like, how many more cards could I get if I didn't grade them all, right? I mean, that's
I think that might be your saving grace at some point. With so many options, it will force you to be pickier. Yeah. It will force you to think of that about that secondary cost associated and be like, why would I grade this card? I don't even like this card. So that's one to not. That would help narrow for me, being like, oh, you know what? That card's not important to me.
Or you just have one example from every set. You know what I mean? Like slowly that way. Because like you can easily get the raw version of a card in not great condition that's like a team appearance or an appearance or a versus or a section or, you know, whatever it kind of be. Yeah. And have that in a binder and put a proxy card for your graded selection and have a special case for the graded collection cards. But I like the idea of having, which is what I'm doing. Like I'm in love with the annual EPAC achievement cards. I'm obsessed. That's blowing my mind. I don't know why, but I love that image. That's one of my favorite covers is Galactus there and Surfer flying off. I love that they did that. I'm just like obsessed that they put that image on a see-through card and it's an achievement and it's numbered. I was just mine. And I'm just going crazy on those. But like that one I will have graded, even though I'm kind of hard stop on the grading aspect right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wish there. If I was smart early on, I would have done just, you know, ungraded, authenticated, or whatever. Even just those sort of fly-by-night pretty ones, just so it looks good. Because the grade really wasn't that important to me. It really was how it looked, and it was the display, and it was the blue label, as you know, that really got me into it. And honestly, since that changed, it's more been, all right, I'm doing it because that's how I always did it, which is never a good reason to do something.
No, it's not. And you should stop. And I don't think it's worth doing it because I think, and I work for them and that's fine. I'm okay to say that because I think at the end of the day, people should be happy with their collections because they're theirs. You know what I mean? The outside external pressures. I do think grading is important, obviously, because I have graded cards, but I think when you grade a card, for me in my head, this is how I worked with the Surfer. When I grade a card, it's because I know that card needs to be preserved in a high grade later because they're not going to exist for a long period of time. That was always my head. You know what I mean? As I understood like top sticker from 1975 or 1976, I forget. That card is not always going to be a 10 or a 9.5. That's not always going to exist that way. So having it graded is like, okay, I've locked this down. It's a museum piece now. It's in a high grade. I can preserve it in that nice little kind of condition and I'm good to go. You know what I mean?
It also in the long term helps. Like, again, I always think to the future, like you say, like the cards aren't going to outlive us. When we're gone, the cards are going to be sold. And
what? Just kidding, sir.
Yeah, you'd be like an Egyptian pharaoh with them all lined up around. Having them graded also just makes it a little bit easier, ultimately, I think, to sell them because there's no argument about condition. You've got the third party who did it, so that's a plus. But we're going on a whole nother topic here. So
no, but it's a good thing to mention, though. It is a good thing to mention, and that and you know, kind of moving into where to stop and thinking about that, you know, that is a good place where to stop. Where I've seen a lot of people stop is where, and Brian, Amazing Spider-Man guy, who's a good friend of mine, he did a great job where he amassed the collection, got them all graded, saw where he needed to fix things, traded low grades for high grades, like figured it all out, and then stopped. When he had all of them graded at the grades that he needed to have them in, it was done. It's a tight little collection and it's over. And I think that does help people stop is saying, hey, I have it in this condition. I have it to this year. Like for me, I have it all the way to 2014. I have a lot more than 2014, but at year 2014, that's the completionist side of me, and that's over and it's gone. You know what I mean? And I think that's where a lot of people are going.
That's actually exactly what I was going to bring up. I was just kind of tiptoeing around it because I didn't know if we were going to go there. But I think there's a lot of people who are character collecting that are going to find 2024 to be the natural stopping point. So one of my friends recently put it to me like really well. We had a really in-depth conversation about it. But this is a really great sign or year to draw your line in the sand and backfill. I thought that was such a great way of putting it. I'm not going to out that person of who I was talking to about it, but they're a serious character collector. And I just thought that was such a crazy way of putting it. Your line in the sand and then backfill the gaps in your collection. If you keep trudging forward, and grabbing up as exponentially more comes up. You also got to think about the gaps you're not filling behind you. I know that Fausto has been doing this so long that his collection is, like he was saying, very close to complete, if not complete. For a lot of us who are doing this, we're not even close to that. I know there's gaps in mine. Like, I got a lot of cards, but I got a lot of gaps as well. So every time I'm going after more and more platinum cards, I'm getting farther away from filling the gaps that are behind me. And those gaps behind me are really important to me to finish. I would feel better about my collection knowing that I've got up to 2020 taken care of than I would about knowing that I have 25% of the platinum cards or of that, right? So
I like that.
Yeah. That's all I got about that. I wasn't sure if I was going to share that.
No, it's a great segue point.
I was going to go there, but yeah.
No, it's perfect because now it brings us to like people like myself and other people who have big collections thinking about stopping, thinking about slowing down, thinking about just collecting what we like. All of a sudden, that leaves room because that's what happens, right? I mean, I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with poor Matt here of me being like, fuck, man, I'm starting to realize that, of course I cursed, I'm starting to realize that when I was talking to someone, a friend of mine, Jordan, who's another surfer collector, I've known him for a long time. He has a crazy surfer collector, crazy. And I was talking to him and he was like, man, I'm not paying for that crap. And this was like 5-6 years ago. I forgot what the card was. It was 2016 He's like, I'm not paying for that. That's garbage. It's too much money. And he was griping. He was so upset, blah, blah, blah. And just yesterday I was talking to somebody. I was like, I'm not paying that. That's so stupid. And I'm like, oh my God, it's happening. And that's what happens, right? Like you find yourself in this cycle, right? Time moves in cycles. And I found myself in this cycle of repeating what I saw 5 years prior from someone who had a collection similar to mine. And I'm like, oh, wow. The natural progression of this is just realizing that, oh, I've hit the wall, right? I've hit the time. And we've talking to sketch card collectors back in the day for Sketchographs, and they've like had that kind of moment too, right? I'm paying what I paid for a Silver Surfer Sketchograph from MCC 98 is stupid. I'm gonna look at you dead in the eye. It's stupid what I've paid for these things, and I'm happy to do it like a fool because I know how stupid hard they are to get. But I feel like in terms of getting to our second part of the question, and we're going to start wrapping this up in 10-15 minutes, that's the next part of the question, right? Is this my time to start?
Interesting.
See, I think that's good. I think that's the good way of thinking about it, right? It's the character collector out there's like, I want a surfer collection. I'm like, you know what? And it scares me to say this. I'm sweating. I'm breaking out into sweat. But someone's like, you know what? This is mine. And they're going. Maybe.
Matt, what do you think about this being the time to start character collecting?
Wow.
So upset right now.
Yeah.
He looks visibly upset. I feel terrible.
I mean, if you go into it the right way, it could be great because, again, if you're only looking for a 9-page and you're not set on the super low numbers, there's just such an abundance, almost a glut of cards available. I mean, if you only wanted a 9-page and there's 61 available, you can pick and choose and, perfect the 9 you want to see. And with all these different, backgrounds, some stylistically will really hit you, others won't. So it could be a good point if you learn from those of us who have done it the wrong way, which is the excessive way. But I mean, it's the truth though, right? I have no problem saying that the way I've been collecting is just stupid. Plain and simple, because you can't have everything, and trying for it is unhealthy. So if you come in with the right attitude, this could be a great, great time to start character collecting for sure.
Good stuff. Good conversation. Because I like it. Because I get thrilled at the fact that someone could come in and be like, I can think about this differently. Right? I can figure this out. And I think it also helps when new people come in and think about it differently because it forces us who've been here for a little while to think about it differently. And now our collections are being refined as well. And I think that's the growth, right? That's the ecosystem, right? New collectors looking for stuff. You sell stuff you're not interested in anymore. And then you're refining your collection by selling off things you're not so interested in anymore. You've had that space, right? I do think it's possible. I do think Platinum is this weird paradox thing. I know I sound like a prick for saying paradox, but it's a little weird of a paradox thing where it's like the beginning is the end and the end is the beginning in a strange way. I don't know. It's good stuff.
We've discussed this before, not quite at length, but it's been touched on a good bit in and it's kind of a funny segue that there's a trade night tonight. But this is the most tradable set that's been out there. So if you're character collecting this and you're also getting into character collecting, or you're considering this being sort of a stopping point or whatever, this is the set to trade. So like no matter how you're like getting your hands on it, like if you're opening whatever product you're opening, when you have this stuff, since there are so many, like, and we were saying there's more and more people in the space now, this is like the time. This is like, you don't actually have to buy cards if you're opening. Like if when they're hitting cards of yours and you're hitting, like I got an auto to trade. Like I don't collect Ultron, I'll tell you that right now. But it's great. It's great to trade to somebody who does, so I'm going after base and stuff like that as well. So there's a lot of things in here that are perks as opposed to just all the negatives.
And there's so many different characters and such a variety in the set. Sorry, Matt. That trading is the way to go with this set, without
it. Really is. It really is.
Yeah, and I think the other thing with trading, and maybe this isn't a universally held belief, but I sort of look at it as the whole paperclip trade route, which is that, you know what, if I have a card someone wants, like let's use that Ultron. If someone wants the Ultron and if they've got a comparable card, like an autograph of someone else I don't care about, fine. You know what? I'll trade that to you. I help someone. I'm no worse off because instead of Ultron, okay, I've got Hammerhead. Okay,
love that.
It's about the same. Obviously, it gets tough if you've got like a Wolverine or Spider-Man. That's a whole different beast. But if someone wants your obscure card and is willing to give you their obscure card,
yeah,
be open to it. Because
what are you losing by trading laterally? You know what I mean? Nothing.
And what are they gaining or their character? That's amazing. Being part of that transaction is fantastic.
And that stuff, I'm telling you, man, I'm getting helped from everybody who's been, by the way, thank you, everybody who's been phenomenal with me. People have just been like,
me too.
It's been so beautiful and so kind of everyone to help me. And I am not going to hoard surfers at all. So I already have 2 surfer collectors who are looking to collect surfer, and I'm going to help them the moment I get mine. There's next, and we're going to have a whole thing. So it's great, and it's wonderful how kind everybody has been. It's just been a really nice experience so far.
This is how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's good. Helping people is the way to go, and Matt's absolutely right. That
was a great point, Matt. That was a great point.
That was the way to go. Yeah. So it could be the time to start, Matt.
So who are we? Who's our new character?
Ultron.
I'm not going to lie. In addition to doing that idea of slowing down, I have contemplated starting a new one.
Oh, wow.
Did you really?
Just dropped that bomb right there, eh?
I have a ton of stuff bookmarked, and, I really need to take a step back and make sure I'm not going to bury myself, but it's another relatively not sought after character. But
why don't you do a treasure chest character collection?
What's that?
What is that?
Oh God, whoops. That's something I talk to myself about. Sorry, I'm talking out loud. So treasure
Speaking of insane people in the hobby, have you guys followed Sketchcard Hive?
I know, what a nut job. So what I call my Mando collection is a treasure chest character collection, which is 10 cards, and each card represents a very significant correlation to the character. So it's a very important kind of like thing that matches with the character. So like, let's pick a random character. Let's go Ultron, right? A random Ultron. If you look at the Ultron image that's used for that auto and look at the writer there, that Ultron image might be, and I'm assuming, a very early rendition of Ultron. Very, very early. And that's a really amazing writer. I think that's a writer, right? Is that Roy?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a really important, significant moment to the character type of thing. So if I'm thinking Ultron, I want Ultron with the first time he ever appeared in a panel. I want to see Ultron in MCU, and I want to go for a rare parallel the first time the actor signed the auto of Ultron. You know what I mean? Like, I
Interesting.
want to see Ultron in a comic clipping for his first appearance. Check. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you make a list of 10 things that would really encompass all the big highlights of a character, and you knock them off. Boom, 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 boom.
Matt, have you ever heard of this? This is a brilliant idea.
Yeah,
This is the first time I've ever heard of this.
No, he sort of mentioned it before. I've never heard it sort of summarized down to that small detail, but I like it.
They like it. I know they like it. It's good.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah. I love
Talking
it.
to myself like a crazy person. No, yeah. So that's what I did for Mando, and actually, I mess around with the Surfer collection a lot, and I always distill it to 10 cards to see what those check marks would look like for Surfer.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's fun.
Yeah, I like
one
this.
way again. Not to. One thing I've been thinking about with this new character is, so I'm probably going to get rid of that thing right there, just because it's got a lot of. It's where all the cards are, and I think I can do it in the closet there and just get them out of sight, and plus more wall space. But like you, I'm sort of thinking of a display, and then one of the ideas was, well, what if I just had one level of this display, and it was just, rather than a binder, it's whatever I can display on that one level, and that's it. Right?
That's a little Rick. That's a little Rick. That's the evil Rick Ortiz in us, a buddy of ours who does that with his displays and stuff. That's a good one. I like that. I've seen Ryan, Juggernaut Collector, right? He has that wall, doesn't he, Rick Graydon?
Yeah, he sure does. When we were doing, I was doing a podcast with him, and his cat got into it. And there's another reason to grade your collection. If you look at the video, I literally had to be, Ryan, I'm not joking. There's a cat in your collection. Yeah,
because he had it open because he was pulling stuff out of there. Yeah.
And he warned me before the video. He's like, just so you know, I just got a kitten. Like, it might be in the way, and now it is eating your cards.
That's amazing.
It was
That's
so funny.
amazing.
Sorry, I went on a side tangent there.
No, I love that. No, it's great.
Jake had a cat eat one of his cards too, actually, like a good card.
Oh,
But,
I didn't know that.
I don't know how he got into cats, but yeah. Anyway,
I have a fat cat. She moves slow, so I'm pretty good.
but Ryan does have that display in the background. And Matt, I love your idea of.
Yeah, I think that's good, man. I like a shelf. I like the shelf. I like that. Oof. That's actually really good. Damn you.
Yeah,
I gotta do that for a shelf.
I sent Fausto a video of my shelf I recently did. I have a display shelf. You know, I have 75 binders with sets in them. And it takes up a lot of shelf space. Like it's a ton of space, but they're all perfect. It's all the same binder. And then the top layers are for cards, the very top, and then 2 shelf layers are for Sabretooth and for hits from boxes I've opened. And it's so fun having a display. But you really do come up with these unique ideas when you're doing a display. Like, you're like, wow, like curating this is endless. There's endless possibilities.
I dig it. Well, we're gonna come to a landing because I want to make sure we have room for trade night because Matt has to prepare. I have to prepare. And Graydon, if you're coming, you're obviously welcome to hang.
I've been multitasking.
Graydon's already ready.
Yeah.
I gotta look for stuff I need to trade. Oh God.
Make sure you update your spreadsheet.
Yes, please follow the link. Matt sent everything out. Instagram, it's all updated. Go check it out. Make sure you get one of our new character collectors. What's up, buddy? Wonder Man, love it. So be ready. Trade night's going to be pretty great. It's going to be platinum focused, but not necessarily platinum specific. It can be any card, obviously, but you might see a lot of people looking for platinum. So if you have platinum, here's a good way to get in there and start trading. I've sent like 20 packages out already, so it's been a lot of post office visits. But yeah, so I thank you both for this discussion. This was amazing. If there are any last questions before we head out, we're at 44 minutes. I want to make sure we have room. It's 8 o'clock. It's going to be here, Matt and Lewis's channel. So that's where all 3 of us will be broadcasting this. You can go to all 3. If there's any delay in the chat, we'll let you know and we'll connect people. So we should be good there. Matt's going to go ahead and post the link, I imagine. That's what you're looking for. He's going to try, so he'll post the link there.
They cut off URLs, but we'll try.
No worries. Take your time.
But I want to just throw one thing here at the end. If everyone's enjoying this, smash that like button. Smash it. Like this video. This video is awesome.
Well, I hope you guys enjoy it. Again, we do this because it's fun, it's nice, and it's a nice place to take a pause if you're a character collector. It's the space for character collectors. So please always come by and hang out. We love talking about this stuff, and I love having you guys on here. This has been awesome. Thank you so much. All right, link in the chat. Trade night's happening 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You got about like 10, 15 minutes. Get ready, get your cards, and let's get trading. All right, everybody. Catch you later.
See ya.